Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy. Enough of that, let me get right into it. Today's episode is going to be your top photography questions answered. I put up a poll on my Instagram @_youngshot, and a few of you guys gave me some suggested questions. Before we get into this video, subscribe, hit a like, and check out much more of this content. This is what you like photography related. Let's get right into it. Question number 1. What's the best, most recommended film camera for me to you guys? I actually have a whole video about this. For manual film cameras, I recommend the Canon AE1. I have the Canon AE1 in my hand. The Canon AE1 or the Pentax K1000 is great mechanical film cameras. And for point and shoot, I recommend the Olympus Stylus series. There's a few different models, but any of those are great options. Another question is, how do I pose my models without making it forced? If I know what I mean. I definitely do know what you mean. This is something that you deal with a lot, especially when you're beginning and you're shooting people who are not models. So they may have trouble, feeling more comfortable or posing and finding that fluidity within. But one of the best things a photographer told me once was play some just music that makes you feel comfortable. Stare at yourself in the mirror for a while and just allow yourself to pose, and get comfortable with it, because the more you understand it, the better you can be prepared to help someone else feel comfortable with it and kind of give them pointers. But another thing I would say about making a person feel comfortable and the posing and everything and just in general in the shoot, one thing I do is I crack a lot of jokes, but that's just because I'm a cracking jokes type of person. Maybe you can't come up with any of them on the fly, you feel me? But maybe you can just smile. Sometimes when you're too serious, it's kind of intimidating, make the situation a little bit too daunting. They may get a little bit anxious if you're anxious, because again, if you're starting out, they're very much normal to be getting anxious with these situations. Shooting, the lights, the equipment, maybe a little bit too much. But simple things like just smiling, like making them feel welcome, or putting some nice music that they may like yo, what music do you like? You can take over the aux. Simple things like that. Like asking them about their life is always a good one. Like, yo, where are you from? You have to get to know your person, your subject. I always enjoy really getting to know the person I'm working with and understanding, who they are and what they do. Next question, I think this is a great question. When did I feel comfortable calling myself a photographer, or when do you feel comfortable calling yourself a photographer? Now, obviously, as you can take from this answer is gonna vary and be different from person to person, but this is something that I explored and entertained within my own mind as well for a long time as I was developing as a photographer, because I do think there is a distinctive point when you can call yourself a photographer, and I do think not everybody should just be calling everybody with a camera a photographer. Now I think that point again is when you can accept that and feel like it, you really are. But I would say it's once you're getting jobs where you're getting paid, or maybe not even that, but if you're really learning about the art, understanding what goes into photography, understanding the equipment, the history of it, everything that goes with it, that I think that could as well count maybe as an emerging photographer. But I think the point where you become a photographer, a professional as they would say, is when you're making money doing it, when you're getting jobs, when you're really more familiarized, when you feel comfortable doing what you're doing, you're able to enjoy it versus the nerves and the anxieties of whatever comes in the newness of shooting and stuff, which is very real. I'm a very anxious person sometimes, just good and bad, because I get really excited and stuff like that, and just in general, it's how I am. And I used to get really nervous a lot of times just because, but that's normal. But yeah, like I said, the answer ranges from person to person. Why are you doing this? Well, you're doing this because you love photography, you love art. I understand it can get frustrating. I have many of these frustrations, especially with a lot of the people within it, with the way this industry moves and things like that. But you love what you do, you love the idea of what you could be doing with it in the near future, and you love the art that you produce and the process in producing it. So don't lose faith and don't sell out for other people, and keep just grinding and becoming the most educated, knowledgeable, and best version of yourself, and those results will eventually pay off. Client question, clients, right? This is a big conversation. People are interested, but there's not really a book on how to deal with this stuff, right? How do you deal with meetings? How do you get ongoing clients? How do you get, you know, steady work, you know, repeating clients? How do you go into these discussions, negotiations, right? All these things which are very, you know, again, daunting things that you can't just go out and read a book at Barnes and Nobles about, right? So, you know, I am thinking about down the line making like a more master course on a lot of this stuff to go much more in depth. This is a topic that requires much more, you know, more, you know, retrospection into. But, so again, you gotta learn how to talk the talk and walk the walk, show up with your head high, you know, let them know, body language, that you're not somebody you're gonna be played with, you know what I'm saying? You're the real deal, you're the big stepper in the city, you know what I'm saying? You show up, that you're not just some kid with a camera, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you gotta prove them to that, you know, because your portfolio talks, but the way you carry yourself does as well. Sometimes that comes before showing your portfolio and allows you to even show it. But I've always said, you know, the best way to retain clients and stuff like that is being yourself, being a good, honest, you know, person. You know what I'm saying? It's like and being a genuine person. Like, don't try to be somebody you're not, or any things of that nature, and just do the best you can. And when you get a job, treat it as like the biggest job, even if it's not a huge job, treat it like it is, and you'll start to see progress and developments with that. In terms of how those conversations go, well, a lot of them are through email. So familiarize yourself with how to properly, you know, communicate and present ideas and have those conversations in an eloquent way online through email, because a lot of times, you know, again, it's like texting. You don't want to misconstrue things or sound things that sound different in your head. I'm very awkward sometimes. Like I've done very clumsy things in meetings or whatever it is, and I'm always like, damn, why'd I do that? Every time I leave, I'm like, God, like, what was that about? But again, never forget, you know, one client isn't the last client. There's many more, and every opportunity is a learning experience. Remember, you can turn that L into a W. You know, boss up or loss up. That's my saying. Okay. But yeah. Not everybody's gonna like you. You're not gonna get along with every client. They're not all gonna like your work, and it is what it is, you know. But I'm sure many will, and there'll be many more where that came from. Just don't get discouraged and keep going. First step on assisting photographers with no assisting experience. I actually did this when I first got to New York, and I just DM'd the photographer. And he was a really good photographer. I had no experience. I was a terrible assistant. Terrible assistant. I'm a great photographer, but a terrible assistant. But it was a great opportunity. I'm really thankful for him. You know, sometimes I wish, you know, could have gotten more of a chance to sit down and learn the equipment. Maybe it would have, I mean, it definitely would have made me be faster and more just understanding on set. Really see how to maneuver things, how to deal with things, talk the talk, walk the walk. You know, what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to be doing it. I learned a lot. So I would say reach out, you know, because I mean, some photographers, you know, everybody's different. You feel me? They have their own thing. Some of them are more nitpicky. Some of them are nicer. Some more accommodating. You know, some will bring you on and have their own assistants, but bring you on as kind of like an intern on the side, so you don't do much, but you can watch them and learn. You know, tell them though the truth. Don't be like, yo, I'm lit, da da da, and you show up on like a big set and you're like, you know, they're in a pickle because you don't know how to put up a C-stand. It just depends on the person. Because you don't want to show up, and it happens many times. People start yelling at you, oh, you don't know how to do this, like get off my set, da da da. You know, you hear crazy stories about some fashion photographers. It hasn't happened to me where, you know, to this extent, but I know people where like, you know, you hear stories where like, you know, they throw stuff at you, crazy stuff, get off my set, da da da, this and that. But yeah, so just be honest. Email them too. Some people prefer email to DMs, you know, it's all preference. Try both though. Where should beginners start? It's a much more daunting question than what it actually entails, because to start, all you need is a camera. Even your phone, whatever it may be. My friend Mackey, another great photographer, has a whole video on his channel about doing a fashion shoot on his iPhone. But usually anything that takes photographs, you know, then you need a little bit of of excitement and ambition to step outside or even indoors and just start photographing things. You know, with all this new technology, you know, you have different things on your phone. You can edit on your phone. I started by editing on Visco before I knew how to maneuver Lightroom or any of those things. So all you gotta do is start, Go out, shoot, maybe shoot some friends, depending on what you want to shoot. So shoot some landscapes, your pet at home, whatever you think may interest you, and just keep building on it. Shoot as much as you can. Train your eye in the normal daily world, and you'll see improvements. And then from there, you know, get a film camera, learn the dynamics of that, but learn digital as well. You can be a film or digital photographer, but don't miss out on knowing how to do both, or the mechanisms of both. I always say learn how to do everything the right way and then choose how you do it later on. But don't miss out on learning things, because then you might be lost when it comes to being needed. It's not school, you can't just cheat your way through, you know? Next question, another great question. How long did it take me to find my style, and what advice would I give? Now, this is a question that's important as well, because style is very definitive in shaping an artist. And in terms of like brands booking you and stuff, or doing work for magazines and all that, it's very good because people kind of will know what you get, and if they come to liking your style, it's, you know, it could really be a defining moment, and then from there you can really carry throughout. Now, what I'll have to say about this is, I believe that you should try all types of different things to understand, to see, and because, you know, it's possible to like different styles, right? So I think it's important to learn how to use everything. It's important to try everything in studio and location. Try different lighting, try different settings, try things you think you wouldn't like. And when you find things you like, try even more, even with editing, everything coming down to it. And even when you think you got a style, you probably don't, because it takes years to build a style. Like, I don't think, even when I thought I had a style, then I realized, oh, but maybe I like this more. And it takes years, if not decades sometimes, to build a style. I mean, maybe less for some people, but a real, true, like, ingrained style. But I've never been one to say, you know, try different, to be like, no, don't try different things. I think you should try everything, you know, have fun with it. And one thing I notice a lot of times with me, for example, sometimes I'm like, yo, maybe, you know, I try to keep it more or less, it's the same vibe within, you know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I did this in film, this in digital, maybe it's a little bit different, For example, but at the end of the day, when I look at them together, they're cohesive. And, you know, you guys can go look at my work right now and be like, oh, maybe not these, maybe not that. Sure, maybe not, but all around in general. And like I said, you know, it's a lifelong journey. So every day I'm evolving and growing as a photographer as well. But like I said, the biggest thing you can do is shoot more, shoot as often as you can, and try as many different things as you can. Don't limit yourself.
Come here, cat.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill 2 questions on 1 video clip real quick. For the person who asked me a quick, like, you know, point and shoot video in the in-home studio, well, this isn't a point and shoot, but close enough. For the person who asked me the process in taking film photographs, so here's the camera, the film camera, EOS 3, you know, set it up. A lot of it's composition, seeing color scheme, what looks cool, capturing a moment. There's a lot goes into it. Sometimes there's no thought, just take a photograph of something that looks interesting, and we see if it works or not later on. But let's take a couple of flicks. Nah, turn it around though.
This is my audition for the role.
Oh, that's nice. You keep moving around when he's looking. I tricked you last second, boy. You thought I was being serious.
But the Canon EOS 3 is the double. EOS 3, what you're gonna do, there's a little side panel right here. Now, 1, 2, 3 notches down, if you look close, right there. You see that little picture in a picture? That's double exposure. We click that, and the top is gonna give you a number. That'll let you know how many exposures you want. We're gonna do 2 exposures for this one. So let's go back. Let's turn that on.
Before anything, subscribe and like and comment for more content like this.
you want to take a picture of something light first, and then dark. So let's go ahead and do, I like this plant right here. So, with the first shot of a double exposure, you're gonna want to raise the exposure just a little bit, because it's got to lay on top of a darker photo, so you got to compensate for that. Or you can keep mental notes of where your last shot is, so you can position your new shot within the last shot. So in that last shot, I know that my center point was at a certain point of opening within the leaves, so I'm gonna try to position his eye right in that opening point. Now we have our double exposure, and tell us what you think.
Again, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope I could answer. I answered as many questions as I could. I will get into those videos I mentioned. Links are below. Follow me on IG @_youngshot. Check out more of my videos, my work, subscribe, and leave your boys some love, some likes and comments. Bye. Bye. All right.